Talks Footy.
Yes, indeed. Paul Kent, Gordon Tallis, Anthony Maroon, and Australia's little hero, James Hooper. Everybody's had their say about this business with how Rugby League will move forward from the coronavirus. We will get there one way or the other.
The coronavirus.
You wascally
The Waterloo White Ant.
Oh, you
Listen
little
to him go,
wascally wabbit.
eh?
Coronavirus.
Waterloo White Ant.
Anyway, the 8th, the great Andrew Johns, had this to say.
This, when we come back, is only going to, the gap is going to go bigger and bigger and bigger between the wealthy clubs, the stronger clubs, the club with the best players. The stronger will get stronger and the weak will get weaker. I've been saying for a while that I think the best number is 12 teams for the competition. Only the strong survive. Maybe this forces the hand.
Okay, so only the strong survive, the stronger get stronger, the weak get weaker and wither away. I wonder, Paul, whether or not we need to protect these clubs coming out of all of this.
Look, Andrew Johns makes a lot of sense, okay? And what he's saying in many ways is correct. Now, the NRL have an inbuilt safeguard to basically get around that. But unfortunately, it's not working because the NRL are incapable of doing that. It's called a salary cap. The salary cap is designed to level the talent.
But
so
to some extent, it's doing that.
Well, to some extent. But look, this is the truth, okay? There's been, 21 NRL grand finals in the NRL era, okay, from back to 98. Out of those 21 grand finals, 16 have featured either the Roosters or the Storm. Now, if you're in a fair salary cap, you look at the Super Bowl, the NFL, whereby the salary cap is applied over there. They have teams who can be running last 1 year and 3 seasons later, win a Super Bowl. We don't have that. So the Titans can't get off the bottom of the ladder. Our teams can't move. We don't have a draft which we equal the talent. Andrew Johns is correct. That there is a big difference between the best and the worst, and it's very hard to change that. The way teams have got out of it in the past is by cheating the salary cap. Teams mid-table have gone out, cheated the salary cap, been able to build a strong roster, get themselves near the top, and then what happens is they get into the market and get a fairer value because there's a false economy in the NRL. If you're a $400,000 player, that's your true value. You might take $350 to go play for the Roosters. We just see that now with Morris. Okay, he's left Cronulla. He's taken unders to go to play for the Roosters. But if you're a $400,000 player and the Titans are calling you up and saying, mate, come and play here, you're not going there for $350. In fact, you're not going there for $400. You're going there for $450. So the Titans are probably playing 10% more for almost all their roster, except for the blokes who can't get a start at other clubs. So any player in demand, they're playing more for. That false economy is throughout the league. But if we have a draft where teams can draft their way out, and we have a more rigid policing of the salary cap, where we see teams get hit with a wet lettuce when they get caught, then we can finally fix it. And then Andrew Johns' problem won't be a problem because at the moment he's correct.
Some of these clubs, though, Hoops, some of these clubs, Paul mentions the Gold Coast Titans. Some might say they come last every year because of the way the joints run. Certainly the last couple of years, they've gone out and handpicked some good players.
Hang on, Anthony. They've got the same amount of money to spend as the Roosters or the Storm.
Everyone gets
salaries.
$13 million,
Yep.
and they've all got to spend 9.8 on players.
I understand. I'm just
They can
saying.
do what they want with the other 3.2.
I'm just saying it's not everyone else's fault if the Gold Coast Titans go and get Ash Taylor, Shannon Boyd, Tyrone
there's no doubt
Peachey,
there's no doubt they've made some bad buys, but again, they've only bought those players. Other than Ash Taylor, I'd say the other players were players who they had to pay too much to get Shannon Boyd. The reason he left the Raiders is because the Raiders negotiated, settled on a fair price. The Titans said, "Well, we want you." He finally went. The Titans had to up and up and up and up their deal until when he went to the Raiders just said, "Mate, we're not going there. We're not going to pay that money." But that's what the Titans had to pay to get him out of that club.
It seems
that's my point. You sort of made my point.
Yeah. I see your point. It seems though with the Titans, it goes back to Choppy Close and Ron Gibbs.
But once you inherit because that's another issue, Anthony. But once you inherit, it's very difficult to get yourself from the bottom of the ladder to the top of the ladder, basically by just going out in the market. The only way you can really do it now is to go out and to buy young kids and hope that these young kids will stay together as a core group and come through. But then to do that, to get the young kids, because they all know what the good young kids are these days, to get them, you have to pay them overs as 17 and 18-year-olds. This is why salary caps were designed to work in tandem with a draft. Now, the draft was beaten in court way back in, I think, 91.
Terry Hill.
Terry Hill.
Yep.
It was beaten in court. The salary cap was brought in, and it doesn't work individually. The fact that in 21 seasons of NRL football, 16 grand finals have had the Roosters or the Storm in there, despite the good players they've had. But we've seen the rotation, different coaches and different players at both clubs have got them to the grand final.
Absolutely. And Anthony, you're right with the Titans. A couple of years ago, the 15th and 16th clubs were the Knights and the Titans, and they were owned by the NRL.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't cheat the salary cap. It's simple as that. So if you look at the sides that are up the top, there's no doubt that they're paying massive overs. So Brisbane at the moment, right, are saying they're going to keep Fafita. And from all reports, South offered him $1.5 million. He's worth that to somebody else. So if he goes to Brisbane on 1.2 million. If he goes to Brisbane on $1 million,
Stays there.
yes, stays there. What's Payne Haas going to get when he's on 500? What's Flegler? What's their captain going to get?
Yeah, that's the issue, and that again it
And
comes
what's
down
Jack
to
Bird getting, and what's Darius Boyd getting? You know?
the NRL made a real bad error, and I'll lay Todd Greenberg for this. When Parramatta got caught cheating the salary cap in 2016, Todd penalised them, I think it was 12 competition points, and his argument was, I don't want Parramatta fans to be disillusioned and have no reason
have hope for
the season.
Yep.
My argument to that was, how embarrassing would it be that a team caught cheating the salary cap, assembling a roster by cheating the salary cap, is still able to win a premiership in that same season? It should never happen. Way back in, I think it was 2002, Carlton got caught cheating the salary cap in the AFL. The AFL punished them so hard.
They're still recovering now.
It took them years to recover, literally years to recover. But every team in the AFL saw the punishment on them and thought, we're not taking this risk. Now, when Melbourne got caught in 2010, for a season or two after that, most clubs pulled their cheating in the line, okay, and they stopped doing it. Then what happened, though, toe in the water, the manager started taking the different methods around from club to club. Look, I'm doing this with my guy over at this club. How about we do it here at your club? And the clubs were going, well, does it work? Well, they've been doing it for 2 years. It does work. Okay, let's do it. So they've got these different little methods. They do it. And the NRL don't want to talk about this. They want to try and create this illusion that the salary cap is working, that the competition is the most even competition in the world, and all this sort of business. It's all rubbish.
We know that they're doing it. We know that most clubs are doing it. 90% of clubs are doing it, maybe 100%.
What,
how do we fix it?
Still, absolutely
Right.
still.
Okay, so how do we fix it?
Well, you've got to be able to audit players' bank accounts. You've got to audit their families' bank accounts because that's where their money ultimately goes. Now, you're never going to stop cash. Okay?
I was about to say, I'm glad you raised
No,
but
Anthony's
did you see Maroon?
I'm glad you
He
raised
stopped
Anthony's
sweating.
favourite commodity.
What's that?
Cash.
You're never going
the king of cash, the cash is king.
You're never going to stop cash, but outside of that, you need to. Look, if this is what I'm doing, if I find a club cheating, okay, I punish the club not only for this season, but I punish them for a couple of seasons where they essentially have no chance. I bring in a draft so you can draft your way out of trouble and start recruiting good players. Yeah. I also start whacking these managers. There still hasn't been a manager from Parramatta in 2016. We're now 4 years later. Still hasn't been a player manager punished for that. Still hasn't. Okay, Cronulla in 2018 got caught.
Yep.
Still hasn't been a player manager punished for that. It's embarrassing. They're the ones that are spreading the virus in rugby league. Okay, the managers. There's been no one punished. You know why? Because the minute they do, they say, okay, if I'm going to go off like a suicide bomber if this happens, I'm telling everything I know, and every club will come down, and the NRL is terrified of it.
Yeah.
But what I would do is I would not only ban the player who's caught cheating the salary cap for the duration of that contract. I'd say, mate, you are sitting down. That way he says to his manager, mate, you do not cheat. I would then say to the manager, mate, not only are you out, but your company is out. There's already managers in the game right now who are setting up their company, so if they get caught, their their company can still continue to trade. Therefore, they can continue to still earning a living from management fees, but technically they're not managers. Yeah, there's a manager out there now calls himself an advisor. It's embarrassing. And the NRL's got no appetite to attack it.